Ooh, butterfly. Joining me today as we work on this really historic Chinese elm that I purchased from the Huntington Library at the last Bonsai-a-thon. Join us today. Welcome back, everybody. So this is a rickety table here. This is a regular Chinese elm that I purchased in an auction from the last Bonsai-a-thon at the Huntington Library. It's a historic tree from a particular collector, and I'll actually work on the tree first, and then during the time lapse or video, I'll probably splice in the audio that Ted Matson talked about the provenance of this tree. If you look at it carefully, it's pretty muscular. It was pretty darn ugly, and it's kind of the reason why I liked it so much. It had a really nice, not a bar per se, kind of curls around. It has a nice big base. Has really these muscular arms. If I can get a chance, I'll film underneath. But this is let it grow for the last I'll let the branches harden off, and this is actually its third major trimming of the year from this particular tree, if I remember from what Ted Matson says. If you notice, it looks really hedgy. My goal is basically to cut it back to 1 or 2 nodes as far back as I can. Create some of the negative spaces. Instead of just hedging it, and then whacking back some of these really strong branches. So that's what I'm trying to do, and then I'll kind of talk about what I'm doing, and then in between I'll splice in the historical bit that I got from Ted Matson. So join us as we work through this Chinese elm. Alright, what I normally like to do is I like to cut back all the strong branches. First, that's what I like to do. Doesn't mean I will get to it all. Elm trees are pretty indestructible. If you have an elm tree, you know what I'm talking about. These guys can take a good beating, even sometimes without water, and they do pretty well. You can almost defoliate these guys like a couple of times a year, and they just laugh it off. So you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just cutting off the long branches, and then thinning it out. Because the more congestion you on elms, there's a higher chance of dieback. And then I'm just direction pruning, so where the nodes are pointing either up and out, I'm keeping it, and any nodes are pushing inwards or up, straight up, I'm cutting those off. And then what I'm trying to do is layering some negative space as I go. So again, it's an elm. If you screw up this time, wait a couple weeks, let it fertilize the heck out of it. Water is normal. and then just repeat the process, because I'll guarantee you elms will give you the opportunity to redo it again multiple times in a season. If you need that practice, elms are really good doing that. So without further ado, let me splice in that audio. I'll work on the background while that audio goes on about Ted Matson describing this tree, the historical significance of it. I'm going to continue working here, so enjoy that audio from Ted Matson, and this was recorded in February when I purchased the tree right after the auction. There you go. Enjoy.
The Chinese elm that the Huntington acquired in a collection from Dr. Hart of Del Mar, California. He started his bonsai in Los Angeles. Bought a lot of trees in the 80s from both Yamaguchi and Chikugo-en. I think this is a Chikugo-en tree. And shortly after he got into bonsai, I believe he moved to Del Mar. And that's basically when his study of bonsai stopped, and all he did was just did his practice on his own. So he had all these trees with incredible character, but the structures in the canopies were a mess. So we spent a number of years cleaning all that up, but then without trying to lose the character of the trunks and that. So yeah, this is one of those that came from Chikugo-en back in the 80s.
Alrighty, so how do you like the little history from Ted Matson? I thought it was kind of interesting. There is another tree that looks like this, a little squattier, in the bonsai court. I'm not sure it's from the same owner, because they had a very similar growing habit. So right now is just you can see I got about a quarter of the tree done already. Shouldn't take too long to do the rest. I'm just taking my time. I need to probably resharpen my scissors soon. But again, trying to build that negative space than just the hedge ball here. So anything that's up and out, well, that's why I want most of my branches going up and out. And then any areas that are just a little congested, just being a quick trim to get some negative spaces. Excuse me, I got this gnat in my face here. So yeah, let me turn the camera to time lapse, and we can speed this up in a couple seconds here. What do you think so far? So I did basically a trim back, partial outer canopy defoliation, just to get some light into the inner growth here. I'll get a chance, I'll shoot underneath what it looks like, under the canopy and the structure looks like. But this probably would need to be repotted. There are some conversation already if I want to air layer and make it a little lower. But I think it's so ugly, it's so beautiful. It's some of the trees that, even though are historic, we should keep them as what the original artist intended. And then until someone thinks it's ugly and redo it, that's their job. So if you have an elm that kind of looks like this, leave it in the comment. Love to hear it. Or what do you guys think about this kind of trimming? If you guys watch this video so far, watch it to their end. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.